Hey there, gorgeous souls. Welcome back. Now, today I am doing my Facebook Live, as you can see, from a little bit of a different spot. So give me a moment and I'm going to share it out so that hopefully I can get in contact with you guys. Because as I've kind of shared with you guys more recently, Facebook's doing something weird and it's really pushing me to deliver my live messages from my business page. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys now. And so, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a switcheroo and a change in terms of how these messages get delivered so that I can get out to you guys and I don't get banned from Facebook as they tend to do for me, which I don't want to do. So I would so greatly appreciate if you guys find value in this message to please do share it anywhere where you have other amazing human beings who you feel could benefit from today's message. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And today I want to get into a really juicy topic, one in which I feel really awakened by, one that I'm absolutely sure we can all benefit from. So I'd love to hear from you as you're tuning in. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from because we're doing it from my business page today. Unfortunately, it cannot go to, unfortunately, I can't see you guys until you comment. So make sure you're dropping me some comments so I can see who's able to join. And definitely I want to hear from you guys as you are tuning in and we're delivering this particular message, all talking relationships, all the good stuff. So can't wait to dive into this one with you. So today's topic is fake love is a forced, obligated action born from guilt that generates resentment and robs all involved of the enjoyment of that relationship. Now, what inspired me to deliver this message, and let me unpack that whole big long title for you guys as well, is because just recently a friend of mine sent me an awesome little clip. I'll link you guys up if you're interested in watching it too, by the late Alan Watts and his amazing wisdom that basically he was talking about what it means to love our enemies, all right, in this video. But what really caught my attention that I wanted to bring into the conversation in the hope that it empowers you and gets you thinking outside the box and gets you questioning if you're operating in what he deems as fake love versus true love. And basically I want to talk to you guys about that today because this is something that has been on top of my mind, heavy on my heart for quite a while in terms of how I've been looking at how I've been engaging in relationships, and particularly in those family dynamics in which we can fall into this kind of set and forget kind of mentality, or this way of kind of being where, we just kind of think we feel obligated, right, to be a certain way and love people and do things for certain people because of who they are. And I can see Danielle, hello to you, beautiful soul. Thank you so much for dropping me a comment so I can see you joining, and love to hear your thoughts throughout this, and love to hear from you guys who are joining as well throughout this conversation, because I'm trying something new today. We're doing it from the business page because we're trying to get Facebook to not ban me and so that I can get out to see you guys. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's break down the title for today and let's talk about what this fake love is. So right? Like if we can look at fake love as being an obligated action, right? I feel like I should do this thing because you've done a lot for me, or because you're a certain role in my family, or whatever it is, right? We do things out of obligation. We force ourselves to do it out of an obligation, or even in maybe we made a past commitment to, say, a marriage or something like that. This can come into play as well, where basically we are obligated, and because of that obligation we're doing things from this place of I should do this but I don't really want to, right? It's not a desire, it's an obligation. It's a doing things that I don't want to do because I think I should. And basically, whenever we do anything we don't want to do, but we feel obligated to, what it does is it builds resentment in that connection. And all of us can tell and feel what is love and what is coming from a sense of obligation or coming with the price tag of resentment. And so what happens is, we've got the well-intentioned people operating in relationship, but they're generating fake love because they're doing things that they don't spontaneously and genuinely in this present moment want to do. They're doing things from obligation, which breeds that resentment because I'm doing things I don't want to do. And basically that's being felt by the other person who now feels guilty, right? Because they're, placing this pressure on your loyalty to them in relationship to follow through on their perceived obligation. And now you've got people operating, pretending like there's no resentment or no guilt, feeling the energy of it, not being inspired by the connection, and then kind of not either side being able to enjoy the actual relationship going on, right? Now, let's contrast that with true love. And this is my definition of true love. I believe that true love is a natural phenomenon born in the present moment, which is all that exists, right? Not trying to get too woo-woo on you, but this is all that matters right now. This is reality in this present moment. And I believe that true love is basically that natural phenomenon that emerges spontaneously in the present moment that gets you operating in a way that you want to, right? You have something to give. You have love to give, right? And to experience and share and receive. And so basically, it's not something that was kind of a set and forget obligation, some contract that you signed in the past, or, because you were born into the family that you were, that means that these certain individuals are the ones that you ought to be, delivering your love to, right? It's none of that, because basically what that is doing is you're allowing, something that is not true for you, right? It's like a disconnection from your authentic inspirations and what you feel connected to doing in your present moment. Instead, you're going against the grain of your authentic truth, and you're falling to the wayside with the obligated ways of being in life. And anytime you operate from a place of obligation that is out of alignment with what feels right and true for you and authentic for you, you're not operating in true love. You're operating in fake love that, like I said, it actually robs all parties in that relationship from the enjoyment of the relationship, because the person who is giving the fake love is actually feeling resentful and doing it out of guilt and obligation and feeling resentful. And the receiver of that fake love is feeling the fakeness of it, feeling that it comes with this price tag, this resentment. And then they also feel guilty for, feeling like they're making you do something you don't want to do, right? So nobody's a winner when it comes to that game of obligation. And so, that's where so much of the damage is done in our human relationships, right? Is basically when we are saying that we love people, right? From a place of obligation. I should love this person because they're somebody I committed to a relationship with 20 years ago, right? And I haven't really maintained that connection. Or they're somebody I was born into the family of, and maybe they're my mum or my dad or a brother or a sister or whoever they are to us, whatever role they play. And we're not really feeling that we truly are spontaneously that natural phenomenon of love and wanting to give and receive of that love. Instead, it's coming from that obligated role-playing mode, which is basically leading us down that path towards that resentment and that guilt. And basically what we do when we say we love people, when truly that's not aligned with what's true for us and authentic for us, and we're experiencing that love of the moment, basically we set other people up with the wrong impression, and they start expecting us to operate in ways that a person who loved them would operate, right? Naturally and spontaneously through true love. And basically when we do that, we're expected to give things that we're never going to be able to come through with, right? Because it's not actually true. It's an obligation. It is, that forced fake love that is not sustainable. And so what we really need to do, I know this sounds super depressing, but I actually find it super empowering because so many of us in society, that's just the norm, right? We just operate with this fake love out of obligation, out of we ought to, we should. So we do all these things that we don't truly want to do, that aren't truly aligned authentically, because we're not spontaneous in our love in the present moment. We're committed to the obligations of our past self and their commitments, or the family that we've been born into, and we're projecting that into our obligations for the present moment. And so we're forcing ourselves to be and do things that look like love on the outside surface, but they're devoid of heart, right? They're all head, they're all obligation, they're all have to, shoulds, rather than coming from the heart, right? And that is so damaging to anybody who is directing that fake love or receiving that fake love, right? Because it's got no heart, it's got no soul, it's got no truth, it's got no realness. And basically what that does is reinforce to people that we give that fake love to that they're not lovable for the truth of who they are, and they're not seeing or connecting to the truth of who we are, all right? So that's very, very damaging. And why I say it sounds depressing on the outside, but actually is very empowering, is because when you start to recognize, how you engage in fake love, right? Doing things out of obligation rather than a spontaneous desire to share that love with whoever that is felt genuinely for, then basically you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to actually align with who you really are, and you're robbing that other person of the quality of connection, right? And so when we understand the pattern, what we can then do is decide, first and foremost, we're not going to do things out of obligation and generate fake love, because it's damaging to me, the giver, and damaging to you, the receiver, and vice versa, right? Whoever's giving and receiving in part of that relationship, it's very damaging because it's fake. It's not true. It's out of obligation. It's building resentment and guilt into that dynamic. No wonder we don't want to go near those people, right? And basically what we want to do is we want to take the responsibility for that pattern that we all tend to engage in our society, right? It's kind of made right? That's the thing that we should do because they're your mother or your father or whoever, or your wife or your husband or whatever. And basically what we want to do is we want to take back the realization that you hold the power to access true love with whoever you want to generate it for. And anytime you're operating from an obligation, you are missing the whole point of love and relationships, right? And so what you're doing is you're sacrificing the potential of any connection when you operate in fake love through obligation and guilt and building that resentment. And basically what we want to do is we want to go and align fully with what is authentically true for us and realize that love is something that is a natural phenomenon that is spontaneous in the present moment. And that fake love, in contrast, is basically a forced, obligated action that is leading to that resentment. It generates that resentment, kills the possibility of connection. So you're not doing anybody any favors, right? And so I think it's really empowering. I hope it's really empowering for you guys to just compare and contrast between that fake love and what is true love, and realize that anything done from a place of obligation will build resentment and guilt another person, because they've put you in a position that even if they don't consciously have language for, they can feel the energy that you're doing something out of obligation and resentment, right? It feels like it comes with a price tag, and that can put people in the guilt position. It can can also generate resentment from them towards you as well. And then we end up with these really surface level connections where nobody really wants to be a part of them. We just think we should based on the family dynamic or the role, or, you know, maybe we've made a commitment that we've signed a piece of paper for, right? And we aren't actually genuinely, authentically aligned with the spontaneity of love, true love that can exist only in the present moment as we give and receive it freely without condition and without obligation. All right, so that's my message for you guys today. Doing a little bit of a different one, like I said, from my business page today. I can see a couple of you have been able to join, so I can't wait to jump into the comments there. So would love for you to drop a comment. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and definitely let me know your thoughts and your experiences and any questions. And this is, I'm giving this a go right now on my business page. I feel like I'm going to have to do all of my Facebook Lives moving forward from my business page. With everything that, you know, unfortunately Facebook wants to kind of block me and ban me from, you know, delivering these messages from my personal page. So I want to find a way to get out to you guys and reach you guys. So the more you can engage with these posts and share them, or just drop me some comments or like them, the more they're going to get out to you guys. So would really appreciate your support on that as well. And yeah, let me check in with you guys. So I have got, Danielle, good to see you, beautiful. And Bill, hello to you, much love as usual. And Jose, yay. Got a ring to it. I love it. Hello, Vanessa. The title gets me more confused, more that an algebra problem. Okay. I remember when I was married, the obligation became routine in the relationship. Love is always the answer to everything, but is really fake love, or should we call it other kind of feeling? Is like pretending to love, or is it being obligated to act like it were giving love? If we're giving love, it's really complicated. Love it. Thanks for your comments there, Jose, and love your questions as usual. So I'm referring to fake love as it's not really a genuine, spontaneous, real, true, aligned feeling that is present in this moment, right? I look at, you know, when I feel love, it's in this present moment. It's a spontaneous, you know, natural phenomenon that gets generated in this present moment, right? And anything that is coming from that place feels really authentically aligned. It feels truly loving, and it fills both parties up, right? Genuine, true love is in this present moment. It's genuine. It's not controlled or forced or obligated or any of that. There's never resentment can be ever connected to love, and there's never guilt connected to love, right? But most people don't get many of those experiences because they mistake this fake love or this obligation to do things that even you don't really want to do, or you think you should do these things with this particular person because of a role that they play in your life. And that is what builds that resentment and that guilt. It's operating out of guilt, and all it does is magnify the fear between you, builds and magnifies resentment and guilt, and you get caught in this loop that you mistake as love, right? But it's not. It's a forced obligation that you think you should do, which is out of alignment with what feels truly right for you, right? In that present moment. And so it's not love. That's why I'm calling it fake love. But we tend to get this a little bit muddled up, right? Because we think that when we love someone, we should sacrifice, we should compromise. We're going to have to do a lot of things that we don't want to do. And I say BS on that. I don't believe that, right? I think that there is a much more intelligent way of us engaging in our relationships that doesn't have to come with any sacrifice of what is true for you. And in fact, when we give each other that freedom where we're not needing another person to obligate themselves to us or be blindly loyal to us, and if they're not, they feel guilty upon doing so or not doing whatever we expect them to, that's actually not love at all. control, that's a neediness, because we're, not operating, we're not understanding the differences, because true love can't be controlled. It's always born from freedom in the spontaneity of the present moment. And it doesn't cost anybody anything. In fact, it enhances each other's lives, both the giver and the receiver. Simultaneously, you can't be separated from those two aspects of love, right? So I understand also what you're saying in terms of, I really resonate, right? In terms of how our relationships can end up in that obligation. And I'll link you guys, like I said, to this message that a friend of mine shared with me around loving thy enemy, right? From Alan Watts. And basically, he talks in this message about how, we obligate ourselves through, say, marriage, right? And we decide that, okay, this is the person that I'm going to love till death do we part, through thick and through thin, sickness and health and all the rest of it, right? And basically what happens a lot of the time in our marriage relationships is that we end up in that obligated way of being. We think because we committed and signed this piece of paper and committed to this person, it means that we should love them in every given moment. But if you're not doing the right things in your relationship so that you're enhancing each other's lives and you're growing and developing and contributing to one another and making your relationship a place that you go to give, not just solely to get, then basically you're going to end up in the experience, if you stay together, of this obligated version of love. And most people don't realize that's a fake sense of love that is not coming from a genuine truth of authentic alignment in the spontaneity of giving and receiving of love with this other human being. All right, so good to contrast that and to understand where those things are coming from. All right, I love it. And so I hope that was of value to you, Jose. So appreciate you being here as usual. And Don's here as well. Hey, Vanessa, you're amazing. Right back at you. You two are amazing, my friend. Good to see you. And Sana Pong is here as well. And Data, love it. Do you have some concrete or situational examples as to what actions constitute fake love? Love it. I know you'd ask me for the details on that. So basically, fake love is, let's talk about from a family perspective. Fake love is going to a family function that you really don't want to go to, right? You really, really don't want to be around the people. You really don't want to go to this thing, but because they're your family, because they've done so much for you, because they brought you into this world, you go and you do the things that you don't feel inspired to do. You don't feel excited to do. You don't feel like, you've got this loving dynamic with them. You do the action out of obligation and all the while feel resentful. And if you didn't do it, you'd feel guilty. All right. That's fake love. That is the opposite to true love, right? That's like true love in that situation would be whether if you loved those people and you really were genuinely and authentically desired to spend time with them, you could go into that same situation, do the same things, and you wouldn't have any resentment or guilt connected to those dynamics. And if you look at fake love as well in terms of say a marriage. So fake love, again, is I'm trying really hard to love my partner, right? Say you've been together a few years and but you feel angry at them. You feel resentful towards them. You feel disconnected from them, but you're trying really hard to love. They might ask you. And in fact, in this recording that I listened to, Alan Watts used this as an example. And he said, your partner might ask you, do you really love me? And the answer might be, I'm trying really hard to love you, right? It's a forced, obligated thing. It's, because this is who you are to me, this is the role in society that you play, I should love you, so I'm going to obligate myself to that. Another version, an example that Alan Watts uses is basically, he used an example of having an ailing parent, right? They've fallen ill and they need their child to be able to look after them. But what happens for the child is, that looking after their parent may become a full-time job, which robs them of the opportunity to build a life of their own, to establish relationships of their own. And so they feel the sense of obligation, right, to look after their sick parent, but it's coupled with a real resentment. They think, okay, you've done so much for me, of course I should look after you, but it comes with resentment because they've got to sacrifice what's true for them. They're operating out of obligation rather than the choice and the freedom of the spontaneous love that is a natural phenomenon. Instead, they're trying to create that from a societal standard and an ought to and a should out of obligation, leading to the resentment. And then the parent in that situation is experiencing guilt because they've really placed a burden on their child and pushed upon their loyalty, right? And so the parent might basically, try and ignore or not, just ignore the fact that the child is resentful and pretend that they don't notice that, and then feel that sense of guilt, and then nobody gets to enjoy the relationship at all, right? And there might even be, a part of that resentment from the child is a resentment to the parent for getting sick, even though it's not in their control, right? So there's a lot going on with this, but we have to realize that love if you feel resentful, if you feel obligated, if you feel like you have to do things that aren't in alignment with the truth of who you are and what's healthy for you, that is not love, right? That and so we mistake that for love, right? We think I'm obligated to this. If you're doing anything out of obligation, you are doing yourself, your person that you're in relationship with, and the potential of that relationship a massive disservice, because you're pulling out more and more of the love and replacing it with resentment and guilt. And then, like I keep saying, nobody gets to enjoy that connection because we're all connected energetically. And we know when people are genuinely loving us and when they're doing it out of obligation, right? Because obligation lacks the heart and the depth and the soul. And so we're having these cognitive relationships rather than soul deep connections, all right? So hope that gave you enough detail and concrete situational examples there, Data. I love the question and so appreciate you being here. And Jose is here as well. Thank you. So helpful as always. I'm so grateful to hear that. Thank you so much for your question and being here. And Shah's here as well. And Sanford, hello to you, my friend. So good to see you. All right, so that's my message for you guys today. Like I said, I've switched it over to my business page, giving this a go so that I can hopefully get out to connect with more of you guys. So like I said, please do share this message. Please do connect with it and engage with it so that more of these messages get out to you guys as Facebook kind of tries to push me off my personal page and onto my business page to continue delivering these live streams for you guys. And if you're enjoying them and they get more engagement, then I'll definitely be doing more and more of these. So you guys can let me know through your feedback on what you find valuable. And I have no idea what these stars are, but that's something you all have to learn about. All right, so that is my message for each and every one of you guys today. I really, really, really appreciate you guys being able to join me live today. I know I've switched over, so it's all a bit, where's Vanessa? But hope this was easy for you. And Jose, Vanessa, I love it how you put the subject about the family situation just to mention. Oh, really grateful to hear that, my friend. This is something that's on top of my mind, as you guys have probably seen in my more recent Facebook Lives. I'm really getting a new level of awareness in terms of how much we obligate ourselves to connections that don't serve anyone, instead of having the opportunity to transform them into truly loving dynamics. And it's not like, I just want to put this caveat here, it's not, oh, I don't love them, they're my family, I feel obligated to them, I'm just going to cut them out of my life, right? It's not about that at all, because that's just childlike, right? We've got to use everything to grow and develop. Sorry, my thing's fallen apart here. Let me just take that off. So basically what we want to do is make sure that we are giving ourselves the conscious awareness to make a transformation that would be valuable, right? So that may be that we disconnect and we no longer reconnect with those relationships in which are filled with fake love and filled with resentment and guilt and obligation and not based on true love at all. But I challenge you to be able to identify those relationships and then be able to go on a growth journey to discover what would need to shift in this dynamic in order for me to transform an obligated fake love connection into one that is sustained through true love. And I've actually been doing this in my own life. And the pathway is to get more authentically aligned with what is true for you and have the courage and the confidence to communicate that so that you give the opportunity to the other person in relationship with you to come on that journey, so that, you know, the basis of your connection comes from authentic alignment, and you wouldn't want them to operate in any other realm. If anybody operates out of obligation at the sacrifice of what is authentically aligned for them, you are going to have a relationship that is built on fake love, built on obligation, sacrifice, resentment, and guilt. And that's not any way to waste your time, right? You want only authentically aligned connections where people are truly free to spontaneously share their love and to give and receive, right? And that's what draws people to love even more, is the freedom to be all of who they are with you, right? And the dropping of the sense of any obligation or guilt or resentment connected to those connections, all right? So look at your life right now. I'd take a list and I'd write a list, you know, of all the relationships in your life right now that feel like they're kind of based on fake love. You feel obligated. You feel like you should do things, but you don't really want to if you're genuinely honest with yourself. It's really just because you feel that you should be loyal to that role that you should be playing, right, in societal standards. And then write a list of the relationships in which you feel you genuinely have true love. Right? You feel free to share that love. You don't feel resentful. You don't feel guilty. You know, you don't feel like you're obligated to do things you don't want to do. You feel genuinely that you can allow the spontaneity of the natural phenomenon of love, you know, to come and to be able to be given and received without expectation, condition, or obligation. All right. So I'd invite you to write those lists, get that clarity, and then ask yourself, which relationships do you want to transform? So swapping that fake love for true love and going about the journey of aligning with the pathway out, and that transformation is to get really clear on what is authentically aligned for you, paint a new vision and picture for that dynamic, and be able to communicate that. And a lot of people won't do it, right? A lot of people, that's too scary. But you guys are not a lot of people. You guys listen to messages like this. You guys are taking responsibility for your growth and the quality of connection that you co-create in this life. And I know you've got the courage to do the things that are truly authentic, and know that that's always the most selfless thing that you can do. The most loving thing that you can do for anybody else is one that aligns with the healthiest thing for yourself. All right. So that's it from me today, guys. Hope this was of value, and thank you so much for your contributions, and I absolutely can't wait to see you guys very, very soon. Let me know how regularly you'd like to see these live messages, because I absolutely love doing them. I'd do them every single day if I didn't feel like I'd drive you guys crazy. All right, so you guys let me know what's of value, and please do engage and interact with these messages so that they do keep coming out to you guys and you get those notifications, because I am going to have to probably shift over, like I'm doing today, to this business page. All right. And Adrian, you're here as well. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you, my angel. You are very, very kind. And I so appreciate you showing up live and contributing. And Data, powerful message full of insights on how to keep the love true by keeping the relationship real. Boom. Drop the mic. I love it. All right, guys, that's it from me. My reminder, as usual, is to go out there and honor your authenticity, deepen your intimacy, and contribute your gifts meaningfully and purposefully. All right, I will see you guys so soon. So much love, and thanks so much for joining me live today. All right.